Good morning, everyone, uh, and welcome for this session. And since the day before yesterday, we have been going through this the 37 verses on the practice of Bodhisattva, which is very important. I think the text that we ever have. Especially for the Mahayana practitioners, then this book or this text become one of the core practice. Without this practice, there is almost like impossible to be able to increase the wisdom, and that is impossible to be able to attain the ultimate bodhicitta. I mean, to get the ultimate bodhicitta. So, being a sentient beings, wandering in the suffering of samsara, and finally we understand the suffering is something that we can reduce, we can stop, and also we understand that we able to understand. We have understand that there is the nirvana or enlightenment, something that we can achieve. So now we understand both. One can reduce and one can increase. So then now we must, keen to do that. We must engage into that practice. And now how to do that practice, and by which you can reduce the negative karma or that afflicting emotions, and by which you can increase your noble quality, is the only option is this, then this, by practicing the Bodhisattva way of life. Like bodhicitta, by practicing the bodhicitta, following this bodhisattva's path. So for that, then this practice becomes very important. This is one point. And also, it is said that in Mahayana practice, we longing, or we try to understand the true nature of mind, which is emptiness. And now to get that level, there is a two-way, two practice that we need to understand. One is compassion and one is wisdom. So only these two can lead us or help us to get this the knowledge of emptiness. So then compassion is the cause, or that root of bodhicitta, the mind of enlightenment. And then wisdom is the the knowledge, or the path. I think we can say path. The tool that we can use. So it's called methods, and then wisdoms. So compassion is the methods. By that methods, then ultimate levels to help to get there. And then wisdom is very important at that point. When we say the methods, method is that one levels, or that path, that idea, technique. But then to stick on that the idea, and then go straight, keep going, and then consistency, be consistency on that, is then the wisdom will help you to do that. Because wisdom will help you to decide or determine what need to be done and what need to be abandoned, I think, for that. So these two practice is important. And by doing that, then ultimate level, and then we reach that the understand, or that knowledge of meaning of the emptiness. So when we reach that level, then it says that then you don't have any reason to come back in this world again. Then from there, then gradually you can increase your level, and then eventually you will be able to attain the enlightenment. So only understanding the emptiness, it's not really you get the enlightenment level or Buddhahood, but then that is the first step where you have to get. And that is very difficult. Once you get the first bhumi, which is called the Bodhisattva bhumi, then after that, then it will be easy for you to increase that level, because then after that, then day by day your this the development will less can I say diminish, or it's go diminish, and then light of the knowledge will increase. So then that balance will, like knowledge will up, and then the negative or that defilement will down. So then it will be more light and more easy for you to increase. But then till that moment, so it's very difficult. And for that, and then compassions, and then wisdom, these two is very important. And especially understand of like how to say this, the curiosity or the wanting to get that level, or understand the how to say the beauty or benefits or excellence of the emptiness is important, because otherwise you won't be able to pay attentions and then go into that path. So like we have Way of the Bodhisattvas. The first chapter is the excellence of the bodhicitta, right? The first chapter was that. And why the excellence of the bodhicitta is important in the chapter number 1 is because only when you understand the benefits of understanding, benefits of practicing the bodhicitta, then you will be able to pay attentions and then pay more interest, and then practice diligence. Everything comes after that. So similarly, if you be able to understand at least little bit of understand what it means of emptiness, what is the benefit of understanding the emptiness, and then it will give you the more like I don't know how to say, give you more reason to practice the Dharma, I think. Like I usually like to say this, when you go to do some job or duty, you go there only when you know that you will get the pay at the end, and then you do constantly like the whole week, and then at the end you already know that now you will get the pay for that. If you don't know whether you get the pay or not, maybe you will just hoping something, and you can continue working with that. But otherwise, maybe after 2 days you don't want to work because there's no reason to work, right? So I think that that could be something like that if you don't know the benefit of that. So I think it's important to understand. And then more important is to that emptiness that we're talking about, especially in the Mahayana practice. We always talk about the emptiness. And that emptiness, what is that? It is something that we are trying to manipulate it, something that not exist, and we're Buddhisms, we're Buddhist, try to, create something. Is it something like that? Or it is really the true emptiness? That also one questions arise. And then many of us, I think, in this world, some of them are maybe very learned one, or some of them maybe they don't have much educations, or maybe some of them have a wrong educations. there are so many people who has that nihilism's view and then internalism's view. So why those person has that kind of the wrong, for us, those are the wrong view. And why they have that kind of the wrong view is because they are not really being able to engage into this kind of the, how to say, the practice, I think, so I would say. If they could at least listen these teachings and then contemplate on it, I'm sure they will change their mind. Because when you understand the something that, I mean, like reality, then who want to, still go in the wrong path if you already found the right path? But today's world, there are so many, like the believers as a creators, and then also there are some people who think there is the something that exists as a prominent. These are the like most, I think, most danger thoughts or danger view that can lead us to do wrong things. And because of that, then even that one person will reborn into the three lower realms, but then at the same time that can harm so many peoples, and then that destroys the world. And why this is happening? Because of they do have this wrong view. And why they do that? They do have that kind of the wrong view because they're not really being able to connect with this kind of the realities or the, I think, real educations or real knowledge. So we have to feel happy and how to say, grateful to our teachers, by which then we have got this opportunity to understand at least what it means by emptiness. Now when I say emptiness, actually I explained that yesterday also and the day before yesterday also. Emptiness is not something that nothingness, but this is something that absence of the reality. For example, like this book is for us in conventional level, in relative level, this book is exist and we're not really denying that. This book is exist, this book and this color, this shape and this page, the every words that he has mentioned in this book, everything is exist. But then to say this book is the reality, now this is it, that concept is wrong. When you investigate on this, the reality, you won't be able to find. If there is something that exists as it is a reality, you should be able to find that, right? You should be able to find. But if you don't find something that when you investigate, it means that not exist. So here, there is nothing to do with Buddhism, there's nothing to do with Mahayana Buddhism, and there's nothing to do with compassion and how to say these wisdoms. It is the reality that we must understand. Because of not understanding the reality of that and having a concept of saying this is the reality and this is it, and this will be the forever. So if you have that kind of the concept, then that concept is what we call, that is the concept that what we call nihilism. Thinking that is the permanent. And it will be the same as yesterday, like thinking that this book, the same book was yesterday and same book I have today and it will be tomorrow. So having a thought of that yesterday, today and tomorrow, it's nothing changed. If this haven't changed from yesterday to today, there's no reason to change from today to tomorrow. right? If there is no change from today to tomorrow, there is no reason to change from tomorrow to day after tomorrow, right? Because there is the change tomorrow, because that's changing now. And because changing now, it means the changing yesterday. So this each and every moment is movings, changings. But all along we're not really being able to understand it. And that is our, how to say, ignorance. And that's our illusions, having a thoughts of it's how to permanent, or it's the same book and it is the reality. So that is why Shakyamuni Buddha taught these teachings, this second, that on the wheel of Dharma, he taught about the emptiness. And then also he explained that, but many of us, we don't understand, many of, the student. And then later on, after, I think, 400 years after Shakyamuni Buddha passed away, then there was a great master called Nagarjuna. So he and then recreate this kind of this, not the create, I mean like he explained, he explore this theory again. Can I say explore? Right? Explore. He explained this theory again. And then also he pay respect or homage to Shakyamuni Buddha for teaching this theory. He said, "Gangi thukje ngir sungne tawa thamje pongbichir dambichuni tenjeba Gautam dela changsalo." He said that person who generate the bodhicitta for all the sentient beings, and then also he accumulate three countless eons the merit, and then at the end he taught the teaching of eliminating wrong view, teaching for eliminating wrong view. And because of that, then I am respecting to Shakyamuni Buddha. That is what he said. Tawa means the view, wrong view. Thamche which means all the concept, all the views, to eliminate all the views. He taught these teachings. So at the moment we practice this bodhicitta, and then we increase our level. But then when you reach that, the final destinations or final level, even you have to forget you are the Mahayana. Even you have to forget everything. So right now we have the view, Mahayana view, just for the practice. But at the end you have to leave this view and you have to go beyond that. So that is the mantra that we have. Tadyatha gate gate para gate para samgate bodhisoha. So go and para gate. Para means transcendent, or go beyond of this the relative truth, or beyond this samsara, or beyond this conceptualizations. And where to go beyond that is samgate bodhisoha. Samugate means like fully enlightened, let's say, the fully enlightened place of to go there. Yeah, I think. So that is what he said. So the moment you go beyond that, then you have to leave this concept of Mahayana. So so for that, then to understand the reality is very important. To reality of emptiness. Now, why this emptiness is why this emptiness matter? It's because then, without understanding the emptiness, you won't be able to detach from something. You will always have attachment. You will always have the desire, because you have the notions. You have the concept or notions that something that belong to me. and I exist. This is me, and that is my things. So me and my, these two always remain until or unless you understand this, the nature of emptiness or the reality of emptiness. Now, understanding the reality of emptiness, again, like I mentioned yesterday, the law of causality is very important again. Law of causality is the main proof or main knowledge of to understand the emptiness, because each and every part comes from something, cause and conditions. So because of that, everything is impermanent, because it's coming from something, from someone, from cause the result comes. So cause, if something that impermanent, from that impermanent result will come. So in that case, there is no the place or no how to say the concept, or there's no concept. There is no place for concept of permanent. That is one reason. And another reason is each and every particle exists in this world are interrelated or interdependent. Without depending something else, that's nothing we can show. Like independence one, out of blue, that's nothing arise. That's nothing fall down from the sky and nothing comes out from the ground. There must have the cause, and then cause also not something let's say the cause. When I say cause, it's not something that's simple cause, but that cause must have the three qualities. Cause itself, first, each and every particle comes from the cause. It means that cause itself must have come from some cause. That's one. Without cause, that cause also not possible to exist. So quality one is that cause also must come from cause. Second quality, that cause must be impermanent, changeable, destroyable, otherwise impossible. From permanent, you cannot produce impermanent things. From impermanent things, you cannot produce the permanent things. So this is the second thing. It must be impermanent, destroyable. And then now third quality, there must have the potential to produce the result. If there is no potential, they cannot produce the result. So these three quality, if something has, and that is what we call cause. Now this cause give a result. Now this cost, the concept of cause also depend on the result. This will only become a cost when this will give a result. Because of this result, then this is cause. If there is no result, then we cannot say this is the cause, right? So these two also interdependence. For example, nobody call me dad for now, because I don't have any childrens. But the moment I have a childrens, then I will be the dad, and that children will be my son or daughters. And now that I'm become a dad because I'm depending that childrens. So that even though the childrens I have produced that, but I cannot become a they cannot become I cannot become a cause until I produce them. So I depend them, they depend to me. So that's what we call interdependent, right? Interdependent. This explanation is that. So when we have that interdependent things, and when we understand this system, and each and every particle, when you investigate in that way, then you will understand in reality there is no such things exist. Each and every particle, each and every atoms, each and every existence that remain in this world or that exist in this world are interdependence. They are just interdependence. So when we say interdependence, it means there's no how to say, solid or absolute or ultimate truth exist. They're just interdependent. They're just a name. So in reality, it's called emptiness. Because when you investigate, that's just to depend on others. They're not by itself. They are not by itself or independence. So that view of knowing that's not independence, they are depending each other. In reality, they don't have that own, the characteristic. So then that point is what we call emptiness. And I think that the same theory, I think nowadays, even though I'm not the scientist or I'm not the student of science, I'm not a science student, but also when we understand the theory or formula of the science, especially the quantum physics science, the theory is, I think, same. That is how they, I think, investigate. For example, if they want to know my realities, what they do is they just take out the piece of skin or any piece of my part, and they take this to laboratory and they check, and they find there from cells, which my physical cells, and from that cells, I think they will find telescope. They use the telescope, of course, and then they find the DNA, which I think every individual has their own DNA, different DNA. And then after that DNA, and then from that DNA, and they will find the atoms. And from that atoms, first skin, then cells, then DNA, and then the atoms. And then from that atoms also, when they investigate, then I think it's what's called neutron, protons, electrons, something like that, So mostly that protons, I think, or electrons. So for then that they goes until that's the vibrations and then waves and all of that energy, I think, what is that called? So when they reach the energy level, it means there is nothing solid things exist except energy. And energy is kind of the space, So now I think the scientist has reached at least that level. Now Buddhism's now go more than that. That energy, that what is called empty, or that is what you call space. Now that space relate with our subject. Now and then from subject, when we see those things, and all and everything's which we consider that exists out there, that also none other than your mind projections. So now you are the one who can investigate, you are the one who can see things, and you are the one who can understand that no self exists. And now the subject is the primary here. And now everything is, you can block everything's out there, whatever that exists, whatever you see are the concept of existence are empty by nature, and then that and projections of our mind. And now you becomes the mind become the primary for that. And then now, when you investigate mind, when you really meditate on the mind and then settle down your mind, then you have a fully settled down your mind and there's no thoughts at all. So when you now have that kind of the thoughts, and the settle down your thoughts, and then there has a level. Like first we have the desire realms, which is, I think, is a very much grosser level. And then there goes the form realms, where you have certain level of the capacity of meditations, but not fully enlightened or not fully understand, not fully conquered your mind. And then now that reach to the formless realms. Now when you reach formless, right? Form, formless. LESS, form and then less, formless. When you reach that level, and now there you have infinite space. You do the meditation in infinite space, where you cannot see anything, you cannot really find anything, because that is already formless, and then you don't find anything. But then you meditate on that infinite space, Namkhathai. And then second level, Namshethai, which means infinite consciousness. So you feel progressively the mind itself. That's nothing you can see. And then after that, even mind is not exist. Chiang me, nothingness. I think nothingness whatsoever. That level you reach, and then at the end, there is neither absence nor presence levels. So you reach that. Now in Hindus practice also that exists, I think. So Hindus when they practice, Brahmins when they practice, I think that is their final levels. So now this what we call 3 volt. I think yesterday we came into this. There is the 3 volt, desire realms, form realms, and formless realms. Desire realms, form realms, and formless realms. So till that it's called Sitse. Si means the universal or this existent, cyclic existent. Tse means the top, peak of cyclic existence, and that is what they call the final destinations of Brahma. So till that, then we can do meditate. I think the technique could be the different, but that levels even Hindus can go there. So these meditations techniques are not only the property of Buddhism's. It's this the property of everybody's. But yes, of course, Buddhist has the techniques different. And now after that, then more practice into that, and then having this fully understanding of the emptiness, and then now compassions, and then wisdoms. These two play the role here in Mahayana. Now that makes a difference. You're having when you see other persons, other peoples having the wrong view, you don't really frustrate or angry, and then dominate them, but then you have the compassion towards them, thinking that they are also like me. They also want happiness. They don't want suffering. And in other words, you can also think that way. They are all my parents. I must, repay their kindness. So having that kind of thoughts, then generate the compassion, and then wisdoms, practicing wisdom, then eventually you will be able to cross these 3 realms and go beyond this suffering of samsara. Okay, so for that, then we are trying to practice this way of the Bodhisattva. 37, the verses on the practice of way of the Bodhisattva. So till to 26, the verses 26 we already gone through. So today is the verses number 27. Gewe longche debi gyalsela neje thamche rinchen terdang chung dechir kunla shede mebai soba gomba gyalsela in. So the practice of all the Bodhisattva is to cultivate patience, free from any trace of animosity towards anyone at all, since any potential source of harm is like a priceless treasure to the Bodhisattva who is eager to enjoy wealth of virtues. And now another translations. For the Bodhisattva who desire the wealth of virtue, those who harm that individuals are like the precious treasure. Therefore, without hating anyone, meditate on forbearance. This is the way of Bodhisattva practice. Forbearance. That is what you are saying. Okay. If I mispronounce, then Gombo will be responsible. He taught me that. Anyway, so so six paramita that we practice. Being a bodhisattva, aspiration bodhicitta, and then application bodhicitta. That's two types of the bodhicitta. Application bodhicitta is having a loving kindness, the four immeasurable thoughts, like having love and kindness, and then of course compassion and joy and equanimity. And then mainly these are the main aspiration bodhicitta. Now application bodhicitta or action bodhicitta is then you need to apply that into your day-to-day life or implement that practice. Uh, or or like having a thoughts of going to New York or having a plant of going to New York is aspiration bodhicitta. But having the aspiration only, you're not going to be there. You're not going to get into the New York City. To get there, you have to take actions. You have to take a train or maybe drive or bus or flight, something that you have to do to get there. So then second part is the application is something like that, take actions. So in actions, even though there are so many other practice like changing oneself and others, thinking about equanimity and then changing oneself and others, and also thinking others are more important than oneself. These are the practice that we have mentioned in, I think, the way of the Bodhisattva. Also, we have that the techniques, very details. But then the main practice of the Bodhisattva in application is then six transcendent, six paramita. And out of that six paramita, the generosity and then morality is already gone through yesterday. And this now, third one is the patience now. And now the practice of the Bodhisattva is to cultivate the patience, it says. Of course, we have received the bodhicitta vow, and receiving the bodhicitta is already, it's very precious. But then now to preserve this, to maintain this from losing, to prevent this bodhicitta, the precious things, is more important. Now, how we could lose this bodhicitta is because we have ignorance. Because of that ignorance, we have a desire. Because of that desire, we have anger. Because that we have anger, we have also jealousy. Because of that jealousy, and then we also have the pride. So these are the five poisons or five afflicting emotions that we have. So long we have these five afflicting emotions, anytime, any moment that can lead us to do the bad karma. If you do bad karma, then because of that bad karma, or because of that bad actions, you could lose your bodhicitta. Because bodhicitta means forgetting yourself, not having any self-intentions, and only thinking about others is what we call bodhicitta, like mind of enlightenment. Enlightened mind is not selfishness. Selfish mind is only bring the problems. Like yesterday we have gone that. Selfish intentions, directly or indirectly, that will bring suffering only, because that connected only with you. Enlightenment or enlightened beings, the thought of enlightenment, it comes from thinking about others, compassions, generating the compassions. Having that kind of the thoughts, then you can attain the enlightenment. I mean, like you can build the path to attain the enlightenment. So, if anything happened out of that five poisons, then that considered as the anti of bodhicitta. So Of course, there are five afflicting emotions, but then out of that afflicting emotions, the most danger and very quick actions uh, that one could give is then anger. Because when we get the anger and when we get annoyed or anger, then because of that anger could destroy our mental state, mental, how to say, positions. So when that destroy our mental positions, then we don't really control ourselves. Then we could kill someone, we could create, so many others problems, others bad karmas, and then because of that bad karma, then you could reborn into the three lower realms, especially the hell realms. So for the bodhisattva practitioners, then cultivating the patience is more important than practicing any other's part. So that is why even in Santideva has particularly mentioned the patient chapter, because this is very important. And in that Shantideva's books, it has mentioned 24 objects of cultivating the patience, from where you can how to say practice this cultivate the patience. And now here what it's saying is you should not angry to someone who create your problems. Instead, you should not have any animosity towards your enemy. Rather, you must understand that every how to say this every enemy or every person who create you a problem or who annoyed you or how to say irritate you or do something bad to you, that person has the potential to give you an opportunity to practice the patient. So it says that you should not get angry towards them, but rather you should understand that person is the priceless treasures or priceless the treasures. So something that because of that you are able to cultivate the patience. You are able to practice this patience. So thinking in that way, having that kind of the thinking is the practice of the all bodhisattvas, says. Now 28. Rangdun bashik dube nyerang la gola meshur doktar chon thong na dokun dhondo yenden jungni ki chondup chomba gelsa lagla hin. The practice of all the bodhisattva is strive with enthusiastic diligence. The source of all good qualities when working for the sake of all who live. Seeing that even Sharabhakas and Parteke Buddhas who labor for themselves alone exhort themselves as if urgently trying to extinguish fire upon their head. Acting only in their own self-interest, the Sharabhakas and Parteke Buddha exhort themselves as though extinguishing fire on their own head. How much more than should the Bodhisattva undertake to practice diligent, the source of all qualities that serve to benefit others. This is the way of Bodhisattva practice. Now here is the diligent. How diligent is important, and how we pay attention towards that enthusiastic or diligence or perseverance. Strive to do something. Here what it's saying is, for example, someone like Sharabhakas and Parteke Buddhas who are practicing this practicing the path or meditations to get oneself these liberations, they also, they also not wasting a time, and they really diligently practice it. Just as if they forget, or if they don't practice, then they will lose the opportunity. So they have that emergency of practicing. It's saying that if someone has the fire on their head, then they just immediately, the moment they know that is the fire, they try to remove it, the fire from their head. Similarly, even Sharabaka and Parteke Buddha, who strive to practice just only seeking for oneself, they also practice this very much diligently. Then, as a Mahayana practitioners, especially as a Bodhisattva practitioners, uh, Bodhicitta practitioner who wish is only for helping for others, well-being for others. So that kind of, and the which is the very source of enlightenment. And then for that kind of the practice is what need to be mentions to how much enthusiasms, or how much diligence, or how much perseverance that we must have, and then practice. So yeah, that is what it's saying. So I think to understand, by understanding this, the diligence. Without diligence, you cannot really increase your inner qualities. So for that, having understand that things, then I think we have to practice this with the diligence. Now 29. Shine rab dembil haktung ni nyoma number jomba she jenes sukme shile yangda dawai. Something go bajase laklins. The practice of all the Bodhisattva is to cultivate concentrations, which utterly transcends the four formless absorption. In the knowledge that mental afflictions are overcome entirely through penetrating insight, suppose with stable calm. Understand that through true seeing, founded on the tranquil stillness, the passions are utterly destroyed. For this reason, you should practice concentrations that transcend even the four formless realms. This is the way of Bodhisattva practice. So by practicing, now when we say practice, this is they cultivate the concentrations. So when we say cultivations or practice or meditations, there's two type of the meditations I think we can categorize. All kind of the practice or meditations we can categorize into two. One is karma abiding meditations, which calls Hinne, and one is this Vipassana meditations, which talk more about the investigations, analytical meditations type of things. So in Hinne, in karma abiding meditations, you have to concentrate on some things, and then by doing that, then you can control your mind. Basically what it's saying is you should not have the distractions. If you have the distractions, then that distractions increase your afflicting emotions. So those who has that kind of the karma abiding meditations with this analytical meditations, that kind of the meditation or that kind of the concentrations could help to how to say this extinguish the afflicting emotions, or diminish afflicting emotions. And by understand that, then you should also practice on this four formless absorptions. And like I mentioned before, the four formless is infinite space, infinite consciousness, and then nothingness whatsoever, and then neither absent nor the presence. So this is the what we call the four forms, formless. So we also practice that way. Then by doing that, then you can overcome all this, the afflicting emotions, mental afflictions, and then you will be free from all kind of the distraction thoughts. And by penetrating this kind of the meditations, then you will be able to go beyond this samsara. I think mainly the concentration will help you to settle down your mind. When you settle down your mind, then you have a freedoms. You can overcome from that from their mind. Right now, even though we want to control our mind, we are not really being able to control our mind. The reason is our mind has so much of afflicting emotions. They have their own these habitual patterns. So because of that habitual patterns, they lead us to follow them, and they lead us to do wrong way, and we follow them without any controls. So for the first step to get the control within yourself, then meditations, the karma abiding meditation is important. For that, then not to get the distractions and not to follow this any kind of this afflicting emotions, or let's say distractions. Not to get the distraction is the essentials. So for that, then concentration is very important. So this kind of the practice, it's called the practice of all the bodhisattvas, like cultivating the concentration or meditations. And number 30, sharab mena farol chinga yi jo bisange thopra minu pe thapdang denshin khorsum mitokbe sharab gomba jalse laglains. The practice of all the bodhisattva is to cultivate wisdoms beyond the three conceptual spheres alongside skillful means. Since it is not possible to attain the perfect level of awakening through the other five paramita alone in wisdom's absence. Okay. In the absence of prajna, which is wisdom, the remaining five perfections cannot bring one to enlightenment. Using skillful methods and remaining free of the concept of subject, object, and actions, meditate on the perfections of the prajna. This is the way of the bodhisattva practice. So now, like we just mentioned, the meditations has a two part. One is karma abiding meditations. One is analytical type of the meditations, which is the vipassana meditations. And now when we talk about the vipassana meditations, which vipassana means the analytical things. Now analytical means the wisdoms we're talking about. So without wisdom, there's no way that we can do. So also it says that wisdom is pervasive on all the six perfections or six transcendent. Without this wisdom, not even one transcendent will be like helpful to attain the enlightenment. It is said that as a blind persons, without this, without connecting or progressing this the wisdom part, other five the transcendent or five perfections is just like the blind persons. Of course, they do have some kind of the knowledge or qualities or potentials, but to attain the enlightenment, they don't have that eyes. They don't have these eyes to see the true nature of mind. That is what basically saying. So they said, without wisdoms, those other five paramitas, or those other five transcendents, or those other five perfections are they like blind. They cannot really lead you to attain the enlightenment. So you must have this wisdom. So this is wisdom is kind of indispensable. You cannot really achieve anything without this. So only with wisdom, then you will be able to, how to say this, take a make a make a distinctions, and then distinguish difference. You can only, when you have the only wisdom can make a distinguish from good to bad, from where to go, where not to go. Then with that, then it will be helpful to recognize the true nature of mind, or realities. So now when we say the wisdom, what that wisdom should be, what kind of the wisdom that should be, it says three conceptual spheres. There has three qualities in wisdoms. When you really use the wisdoms, you should not think, oh, okay, I am doing something as a subject, and I am giving someone or doing something to someone, they're like object, subject, object, and also I am giving some things, that actions. So without these three thoughts, then you have to, take the actions. You have to do the actions. So that is what it's. So if that kind of the wisdoms, if we have and we be able to apply it, implement it, then definitely it is help. It will be help us to attain the enlightenment. Without this wisdom absence, there's nothing we can achieve. So the wisdom's part is also very important. So when we talk about this wisdom, then here comes wisdom of listening, wisdom of contemplating, and then wisdom of meditating. So Buddhist, the way of Buddhist practice is listening, contemplating, and meditating. So these three is, we always need to understand. Listening. Without listening, you cannot practice, you cannot contemplate. Without contemplate, there is no way that you can you get the confident. Without confident on something, you cannot really practice. So listening, wisdom of listening, wisdom of contemplating, wisdom of meditations. So these three is very important. Yeah. So number 31, rangi tulpa rangi matagna chobi sugi chomin jesi pe techiri gyundu rangi tulpa la tagne pon gelse laglains. The practice of all the Bodhisattva is to scrutinize oneself constantly or continually, and to rid oneself of fault whenever they appears. For unless one check carefully to find one's own confusions, one might appear to be practicing dharma but act against it. Though you have the appearance of practitioners, if you do not examine your own delusions, your actions may be contradictory or contrary to dharma. Therefore, be constantly mindful and abandon your delusions. This is the way of Bodhisattva practice. So when you are doing meditations, when you are doing practice, whether that is generating the compassion, or loving kindness, or equanimity, or maybe generosity, practice of morality, or patience, diligence, or concentrations, or wisdom, listening, contemplating, and meditations. Whatever you do, it says that you should not. You should always be a mindfulness, and then also not to forget, investigate yourself constantly. Because sometimes what happen is we have the wrong misunderstanding, and then we have the wrong informations. But then that wrong informations, we think that is the actual one, and then we keep continue practicing that. Having like nihilism's view, internalism's view, having a wrong view, understanding of there is no karma, there is no next life. So these all are uh, the wrong understanding or wrong view. For example, if there is no next life, if you say, so then in that case, we also difficult to believe tomorrow or next life, or sorry, next day or next week or next month or next year. Having a faith and belief there is the next moment, that's proof that there is a tomorrow. And having an understanding or belief or faith of having a tomorrow, that proves there is the next week. And that next week proves there is the next month. And that next month proves there is the next year, right? Similarly, there is the previous life or past life, because there is the yesterday. There is a 1 hour ago, there is a 2 hours ago, and there is the morning, and there was the yesterday, and the day before yesterday, and last week, and then last month, and then last year. So when you go back that way, then why not? There is the previous life, or last life. Right? Can I say last life? Previous life. And if you believe there is the next day or next morning or tomorrow or the next week, then what is the problem of having a faith and devotion, or not the devotion, the belief that there is the next life? Of course. And there are so many debate and then explanations about having a next life and not having a next life. But I think that's not a big deal. Only person who has that kind of the wisdom, they can investigate and they can have that, the wisdom can apply and then understand, distinguish which is right and which is wrong. And then understanding the wrong, then abandon, and understanding the right one, and then adopt, and then apply it. So here it says that since you are the one who want to practice, it says that it's important to practice right way. Like I mentioned yesterday, doing the Dharma is important. It's very essential. But then more important is how to do it. This is important. The process is important. So here also see, in the process, when you are doing meditations, if you have a wrong view, wrong understanding, then that could lead you to wrong directions, right? Wrong directions. So you must keep investigating yourself, having a mindfulness, and then having a the vigilant introspections. Keep investigating yourself, whether your mind is doing right or wrong, whether your mind is still there or not, whether your mind doing meditation or not. Mindfulness helps you to keep your mind one place. But to investigate whether you are doing right or wrong, it's not the mindfulness, but an introspections, vigilant introspection. I think vigilant is very important. To look over your own mind. So I think this too is important. And if there are any delusions, any confusions that you have, then immediately you have to abundance. And doing that is the practice of all the bodhisattvas, it says. And then verses number 32. Nyonmong wangi gelse shendagi nyepa lengna dangi nyamjurube thekpa chala shubi kangsagi nyepa memra gelse laglins. The practice of all the bodhisattva is to never to speak ill of others who have embraced embark upon the greater vehicles. For if, under the influence of destructive emotions, I speak of others bodhisattvas failing if uh, failing. It is I who am at fault. Now this one is difficult to pronounce. I need a lot of training. If under the influence of the patience, one bodhisattva recount the fault of another's, that um individuals on individuals' own spiritual qualities will diminish. Therefore, those who enter the path of Mahayana should say nothing against any other bodhisattva. This is the way of bodhisattvas practice. Like I mentioned before, we have that five poisons: ignorance, desire, anger, jealousy, pride. These are, and of course, the wrong view. Uh, because of these five afflicting emotions that we have, because of these five poisons that we have, even though we try to, even though we enter into the Mahayana practice, even though we have received this bodhicitta vow and then try to practice it, here or there, it give us, it overwhelm to us and then lead us to do some negative karma. In that case, if that kind of things happen to you, so it says that you should not, by understanding that all this defect of that five poisons, and understanding that you have the bodhicitta vow, and understanding the practicing benefits of practicing the bodhicitta vow, then you should not really get the influence, or you should not really use or speak any kind of the words to any others bodhisattvas, because you should, being a bodhisattva practitioner, it says that you should not, you are not allowed to do that, or you should not speak that kind of the ill will words to others. Covetousness, covetousness thought, right? Ill will or covetousness or wrong view should not have that kind of any thoughts towards any others bodhisattvas, since you are self, receive this, have this, receive this bodhicitta vow, and now you are in the same path, and as a bodhisattva practitioners, you should not speak any kind of this ill will words to any other bodhisattva. If you do that, then that will diminish your karma, that will diminish your that will diminish or destroy your bodhisattva, bodhicitta vow, and that will affect you. That will cause you to lose your vow. It's difficult to make a sentence. Now 33. Nyenguru wangi pensun zui gyurishings tosam gombi jawa nyamgyurwe zashe kimdang jinda kimnamla chakpa pawang yalse laglin. The practice of all the bodhisattva is to let go of attachment to the household of benefactor, and of any of family and friends, since one's study, reflections, and the meditations will all diminish when one quarrels and then compete for honor and reward. Receiving offering and honor brings discord and cause your study, contemplations, and meditations to diminish. So avoid attachment and frequent visit to home of friends and family and patrons. This is the way of bodhisattvas practice. I think this is directly saying to Ani Erixenomala. Yeah, frequent visit to home. Um, okay. So when you have uh, gift, offerings, and name and fame and so many things from others, sometimes you have big offering, sometimes you have a small offering, sometimes you have offering, sometimes you don't have offerings. This and that always happens, as in when you go to someone's house, or even Buddha's time also, when they go to bake their food, and they sometimes they have a meat, sometimes they have a rice, sometimes they only have the curry. So different things happened. Similarly, when you engage with this public, especially for this donor or friends and families, when you go to like public, then so many things could happen. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. So then, because of that, then sometimes that could destroy your mental positions, or sometimes like that. Sometimes what happen is, so we have so much of expectations, and sometimes we don't have that kind of sometimes we don't get what we expect, and then also we compete with some other people. Okay, he's the best, I am the best, he's the good donor, or he's the best donor, or he's the good person, that is the good person, or he is the good friends, and that is a good friend. So this and that, actually it's always distract, and then always one way or other it cause you kind of the mental disturb. So having an honor and getting a rewards, saying something good, and expecting that person also say something good to me, or saying something nice, so that expecting that also say something to good to me. So having that kind of the attachment, that kind of the hope, and that kind of the expectations, uh, that could creates that could cause the problem to listening, contemplating, and in meditations. Um, uh, so it says that as the practice of the bodhisattvas, we should not attach home, family, friends, and then sponsors, and let it go all those attachment, and keep your mind free, so that you can continue listen teachings from your teachers, contemplate on that fully, and then meditate on that completely. So that is why it's let go of attachment is important in that way. And 34, tsubmo tsigi shensem tugyurching, gyalwe segi chochul nyamgyurbe, dechir shengi yidu miyongwe, tsik tsupongwa gyalsalalins. The practice of all the bodhisattvas is to avoid harsh words, which others might find unpleasant or distasteful. Since abused language upset the minds of others and thereby undermines a bodhisattva's conduct. Using the harsh words will irritate the mind of others. It will awaken your bodhicitta, bodhisattva actions. Therefore, avoid harsh words which are in no way pleasant to hear. This is the way of bodhisattva practice. So, being a bodhisattva practitioners, being a bodhicitta practitioners, being a bodhisattva's followers, you should avoid using harsh words to someone, saying some bad words, and you should always be humble and politeness and say something always good for others. Because if you use the harsh word, and then other people's might find that the unpleasant and unhappy and destroy their peace of mind. So then because of that, you have that kind of how to say actions or behavior, or that kind of the conduct, then that's conduct is not the conduct of bodhisattva. So that could lose your bodhisattva vow if you destroyed some other's mind instead of helping others. Because being a bodhicitta practitioners, your wish and your goal is to helping to others, not to disturb to others or not to destroy others' mental peaceful mind, mental state. So using those kind of the abusive language or harsh words, you could upset others' mind, and then thereby, and that can undermines the bodhisattva's conduct. So you should always not to use, and you should always avoid using harsh words or some bad words to any others persons. It says 35. Nyonmong gomna nyembo doka we tenshe kebu nyembo chen sungne chaksok nyonmong dangbo kema thak ani burjom jebar gyalse laglins. The practice of all the bodhisattva is to slay attachment and the rest mind afflictions at once, the very moment they arise, taking as a weapons the remediate the health with mindfulness and vigilance. For once the clash have becomes familiar, they will be harder to avert. If you give the passions place, it will be difficult for you to dispel them with the antidote of mindfulness. Therefore, with a brave and watchful mind, with the brave and watchful mind, seize the weapon and crush desire and the other's passions as quickly as they arise. This is the way of bodhisattva practice. So it says that now till today, why we're wandering in the suffering of samsara is because we have that afflicting emotions, and we keep following that over and over again and again. So because of that, we are not really being able to see the true nature of that, and then we are in a confusions, we are in a delusions. So because of the delusions, then we are wandering in the suffering of samsara. And that has been like eons and eons of lifetime. But if you continue practicing that same things and following the same things, it says that you won't be able to destroy or diminish that kind of the afflicting emotions. So understanding that, then having and understanding that the afflicting emotion is the cause of everything, that is the cause of coming back in the suffering of samsara. So then now you have to be very careful, having a mindfulness of the not to let not to let your mind to follow that afflicting emotions or that five poisons, and not to let it get distracted, and then concentrate on that the particular the point, and now with that again helping have a helping of this vigilance. then the moment that afflicting emotion arise, immediately take actions and then destroy that having that. So here the real weapons is using as a mindfulness and then vigilance. So these two is become kind of the weapons here to protect, not to lose your mind, and to protect or not to let arise any kind of the afflicting emotions ever again. And the moment that that kind of the afflicting emotions arise, it says that you should destroy that immediately, because once you follow that and you become familiar with that, then it will be very difficult to destroy as you are feeling right now. So whatever happened so far, it's your mistake. But from today onward, it says that should not let your mind go out and then concentrate on that, control that mind. And with that, that vigilance will help you to keep straight and keep checking that. And then the moment that kind of the emotional arise, and it will, you must destroy immediately. That's what it's saying. And 36, dorna gang du cholam chi je kyang rangi sem ji nekap chi da she gyundu tendang sheshin dempai shindun du bar gelse laklins. In short, no matter what one might be doing, be examine always the status of one's mind with continuous mindfulness and alertness to bring about the good of others. This is the practice of all the bodhisattvas. In short, whatever you are presently doing, always be aware of the state of your own mind. Constantly examine your mind, and in that way you may help others being successfully. This is the way of the bodhisattva practice. So from page number 1, verses number 1 to till this verses number 35, this 35 verses, whatever that has mentioned here, these are the actual practice of the way of the bodhisattvas, and these are the verses of the on the practice of the bodhisattva. So we must contemplate on that, and then try to understand those meanings, and try not to transgress that, and not to let your mind go beyond that, because your mind is the root of everything. So all you have to do now is take care of your mind with mindfulness and vigilance, and try to cut the root of that mind, so that mind, the afflicting emotions mind is diminished, and then the clarity will materialize or come out. And with that clarity, then you will be able to see the true nature of mind, or absolute bodhicitta. So, so this part. Now, here what he's saying is, in a short, what he's trying to say here is, no matter what you are doing right now, it says that keep checking your mind, and then make sure that you have the mindfulness and alertness or vigilance. Make sure that you are fully aware what you are doing, and continue doing that. So these are the most important things that, being a practice of the bodhisattva, we must keep that in our mind. Mindfulness and then vigilance. This two, mindfulness as a raw, we have the example in the way of the bodhisattvas, like mad elephant, right? Mad elephant. If mad elephant you keep free and then let go out, that can destroy the house, that can kill the peoples. So better to protect from those kind of things, the best way is tie up the mat elephant with rope, with rope. So now that to tie up the mat elephant with the rope, the rope is the mindfulness. Our mind is kind of the mat elephant. If you let go with all kind of the five poisons, then your mind always go out there and then create so many others like ill will, covetousness, wrong view, and so other things. And because of that, then they create more problems. So your mind is not healthy. Your mind is just like the mad elephant. So now what you can do is you tied up that with the mindfulness. That's number one. Now only tied up the elephant and keeping there, thinking that the elephant will be there, that will be the foolish again. So we also need the bodyguard to keep looking after that elephant. If sometimes by mistake, if mad elephant, lose from there, then try to understand, and then to bring back or hold back again. Similarly, of course, we have tied up our mind with the mindfulness, but because our mind is not healthy and that habitual patterns that could do so many things others that could lose. So for that, then vigilance is also should be there. Keep watching over there. Make sure that your mind is not losing or your mind is still there. So as a practitioner of Bodhisattva, so as the practice of all the Bodhisattvas, we must understand the mindfulness and alertness is important, and we must apply this. And with that, then it will helpful. And now the final one, the 37. Detra tsombe dubi gyawanam thai doi dungal saljai chir khorsum nambra dagbi sherap ki jangchungo gyalse lagleins. The practice of all the Bodhisattvas is to dedicate towards enlightenment. All the virtues to be gained through making effort in this way, with wisdom that is purified entirely of the three conceptual spheres, so as to dispel the suffering of the infinity of beings. In order to relieve the suffering of countless beings, dedicated with discriminating wisdom, free from subject, object, and then actions, all virtues you amass through practicing this precept. This is the way of the Bodhisattva. So, till chapter number, the verses number 1 to verses number 6, whatever and he has taught of this dharma, and then with the compassions and then bodhicitta, he taught these things, and I'm sure that brings the benefits to all the sentient beings. Now, whatever that merit that he has accumulated by teachings, by generating compassions and bodhicitta, now he wants to dedicate this to all the sentient beings, saying that, may all sentient beings be free from the suffering of samsara and attain the enlightenment. And now when I do that, then also I have that three conceptual spheres. Subject that I am dedicating, and I'm not really thinking reward or anything like that. Also, I am dedicating this to all the sentient beings, the object, and then also I'm dedicating this merit, the actions. So all of these three also not really exist ultimately. These all are empty by natures. By understanding that, then without having any kind of the rewards, without having any kind of the expectations, with fully how to say this compassions, and then believe I am dedicating this to all the sentient beings to be free from the suffering of samsara and attain the enlightenment. By doing this, then that this could dispels all the suffering of entirely sentient beings. That's what it's saying. So with this, then I try to give you a little bit of informations of what that 37 verses on the practice of Bodhisattva was saying. And of course, we don't have much time, we didn't have much time, so I didn't explain much. I just explained the what verses says. And I'm sure when we have time, again, we can go through this. And there are so many important the question it has arise. For example, having a good spiritual friends, having a good teachers, should not have a bad companion, and then take a refuge in front of right object. And then the most important is should understand the human human form that you have obtained, the precious human life, value of precious human life. And then also being a Bodhichitta practitioner, then what one should do, what one should not do. This all and everything has mentioned this one. So even though this is only 37 verses, but it has deep meaning, I think, and then also it has mentioned the 6 perfections practice. So you can also contemplate on that. So with that, and also here is the aspirations of the authors. So I will just give you the little bit of this explanation, because I think we don't have much time. I'm always late for that. Sorry for that. The gyu tencho namle sungpi den damba namki sungi jedangne gelse namji laglen sumchi dun gelse lamla lobde dun the case. So here what he's saying is he didn't create anything. The Ngolchu Tokme, he's saying that I didn't create anything, whatever the sutra and then tantra and then other treatise, right? Treatise has mentions the precious dharma, that authentic teachings. I just follow them, and then thinking about this might help to all the sentient beings. So for the practice, so I just composed this 37 verses on the practice of the Bodhisattvas. Le de mention jangba chungwe chir kheba gebi debjor machi te dodang dambi sungla tembi chir gyalse langlin tulme lakpar sems. For this, the newcomers who doesn't have the knowledge about this kind of the practice, for them to practice this and get familiar with this, and then also those persons who has fully known it, they also get some kind of this support or this what's that? Make them happy, but that I don't have anything much to teach them for those who has already knowledge. But this I wrote this mainly depending upon this sutra, and that the precious authentic teaching that I try to put here, just to have this authentic the practice, so not to have the wrong practice. So I'm hoping and thinking this 37 verses on the practice of Bodhisattva doesn't have any that kind of the wrong lead. That is what I'm thinking. That's what he said. When kyang gyalse choba lapchen nam lomen dagda tingpa kawichir galdang madel laso ngebi chok damba namje sobar jedu solos. But it's saying that, but even though I try to this relate with the sutra, and I try to wrote down this very authentic and not to write down any mistake, but uh, like person like me who doesn't have much knowledge, and I don't have that kind of the clairvoyance to the understand all these Buddha's teachings. So I might not have done perfect job here, and sometimes it could possible to have a wrong explanations. So if something that kind of things happen here, then great master, please forgive me, and then um, yes, it's forgive me. It says so, but souls. So great master, you guys, please forgive me. That's what it's saying. Dele juwe gewe doa kun dondam kunjob janchu semchogi sidang shiwe thala minebi chere sikun ditang sumbara shows. So if there has some kind of the good things, and by from that and by that, then if I have accumulated some kind of the merit, then I want to dedicate that merit to all the sentient beings to achieve this relative bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta, which is the precious bodhicitta, the mind of enlightenment, by which then help you to free from this samsara, and then and then also go beyond this samsara and nirvana. And then at the end, eventually, may all sentient beings becomes changes as himself right now. So with this, then all this 37 practice of the 37 verses on the practice of Bodhisattva Way is complete. Thank you so much for listening my broken English and giving me this opportunity. And I want to dedicate this merit to, of course, my root teacher, His Holiness Pendra Rinpoche, and then His Holiness Pendra Rinpoche Yangsi, and His Holiness Kamakuche Rinpoche, and then all the great masters. And of course, I want to also thank you and dedicate this merit to Her Eminence Jetsuma Rinpoche for giving me this. First, I want to thank you to Jetsuma Rinpoche to giving me this opportunity, and also thank you to KPC and all the sanghas to giving me this opportunity and listening to me. And also I want to dedicate this merit to Jetsuma Rinpoche's health and long life, and all the sanghas, harmonies and long life, and of course all the sentient beings to be free from the suffering of samsara and then attain the enlightenment in one mandala, in this mandala. Yeah, and this word is very very much related with this practice. By this effort, may all sentient beings be free of suffering. May their mind be filled with the nectar of virtue. In this way, may all causes resulting in suffering be extinguished, and only the light of compassion shine throughout all realms. So this dedication is very relevant with this. Can I say relevant? Relevant with these teachings. So thank you so much. Yes, please.